and we're going to apply some quadratics stuff to applications. Solve for x. Both of these things, solve for x. Well, this is a right triangle, so I know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So x squared plus x plus 4 squared equals c squared. We have x squared plus x plus 4 times x plus 4 equals 20 squared. Guys, 20 squared, 400. Now, x times x, x squared. X times 4, 8x. 4 times 4, 16. Plus x squared. Here I got 2x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 400. Now, the first thing we got to do is solve quadratics. Look for GCF, GCF, GCF. Greatest common factor. Well, each one of these has a factor of 2. They're all even numbers. I hope you know what even numbers are by now, but if you don't, I'll tell you, they have a factor of 2. You're going to take a 2 out of all of these. We're going to divide each one of these by 2, so it becomes 1, 4, 8, and 200. So we got x squared plus 4x plus 8 equals 200. Okay? Now, what we got to do is we got to factor this sucker. We got to factor it. We got to factor it. But we can't factor it unless it equals 0. So we got to subtract this 200. We got x squared plus 4x minus 192 equals 0. Factor that sucker, you're going to find out what x is. Next one. X squared plus 4x plus 79. That's the area of that square. Okay, that's the area of that square. The area is also 100. So it's going to equal 100. We're going to subtract this 100 so we get equal 0, then we can factor it. Or, yes, hey, if we can't factor it, maybe we can use like quadratic formula or completing the square, any of those things, okay? So here we go. We got, what is it, negative 21? X squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Guys, that's how you do applications in this sucker. Now, do we need to know how to factor?
No.
No? Y'all know how to factor? Do we need to know how to do quadratic formula? No. No, because we know how to do this because we've been paying attention in class, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You sure?
Okay, guys, so where we left off last class, I told you, you probably don't need to know how to factor these things, but I'm going to go ahead and factor them for you because I am a generous man. Okay?
Thanks, man.
So, what you got to do is you got to take this sucker right here and you got to find 2 factors of it, and both those factors have got to either add or subtract to add up to that middle term right there. Well, since it's negative, then we want 2 factors to subtract from one another. Subtract from one another. Now, I happen to know that this right here is 4 times 48. Well, those things subtract and give you 44, not just 4. So I got to think of some other things. I'm fairly certain that 12 and 16, when you multiply them, you get 192. So what you got here is you got x minus whichever the sign is, then the bigger one takes that sign. The bigger factor takes that sign. So 16 and 12, so that means 12 is going to be the negative one, 16 is going to be the positive one, and those equal 0. Well, right here you set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Well, x here is 12, because when you add 12 to negative 12, you get 0, and then negative 16. Well, now when we applied this here, we plug in 12 for x, and then we get 12, 16, and 20. Well, that sounds good. But if we plug in negative 16, can we have a distance of negative 16? No, negative distance don't make sense. So in this application, x cannot be equal to 16. It can only be equal to 12. And then we're going to come over to this one right here. 21. Again, negative 21. So we're looking for the difference of factors to add up to be 4. Well, we know 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 minus 7 is 4. Or 7 minus 3 is 4. So we have x minus the sign of the middle term is which one goes to the bigger factor. So x minus 3, x plus 7 equals 0. So that means that x is equal to 3 and x is equal to negative 7. Well, if I plug in negative 7 right here, if I plug in negative 7 to one of the dimensions on my square here, I'm going to get a negative dimension. Well, I can't have a negative whenever I do distance. So this negative 7 ain't going to work, but this positive 3 will work, guaranteed.